What's happening, everybody? We are back for another amazing race, episode 6 review. Joining me tonight is the guy with a lot of comments about everything. Who could that be? Goldberg. Goldberg, what's
up? Hey, man. I just want to apologize in advance. If my dog is barking in the background, Logan, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Calbert is also joining us tonight. Calbert, how's it going?
What's going on, everybody, as I finish up my water? Okay.
Well, episode 6 of Amazing Race is in the books. Fellas, what do we think of this episode here? I thought it was another solid episode. What'd you guys think?
I like the episode.
Goldberg.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked how they had their own private plane too. We finally got to see that in action. So starting off the episode, we had some teams kind of give shade to Ryan and Dusty, kind of saying they're the hunted, but that kind of set the tone for the episode because Ryan and Dusty they had some adversity, and I was talking about it last week. They definitely got hit pretty hard this week, but it's how you bounce back, I guess. But we're going to get into that. So the first task was we had the time increments again of leaving. And do you guys like this, or do you think they should do it a different way? Goldberg.
So I mean, I know I'm probably differentiate on this, but I kind of like it. I mean, what was the time difference between the departure times?
15 minutes. So here's 3 groups. I guess we didn't have a speed bump with Aaron and Natalia, but I guess the problem, the penalty was they had to start 30 minutes after the teams 1 and 2.
Yeah, that does seem. It seems like a short amount of time. You should probably get a bigger benefit than 15 minutes. I would probably venture to say more like at least an hour.
Mm-hmm. Calbert, you like these timed increments, or do you?
No,
do you like the old way?
I still don't. I didn't like them last week. I don't like them this week either.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point in finishing first? Besides winning the money and possibly a trip, what is the point of finishing first? Because it really doesn't matter, because you're going to be stuck with with the team that finishes second. Right. You're going to be going as a group, so there's going to be minimum 4 people. There's no point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it if Amazing Race throughout its history would have done this, but they never have. They've always done it for the most part. Where you finish from the previous leg is the time difference you get for the next leg. So that's my problem with it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't really know what's up with that, but So this week's leg was in Bastia, Corsica, France. So this was an island? Did you even know France had an island? I honestly
didn't. Did you go to elementary school? I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Yeah. That's 2 points.
I was actually not aware of how much the altitude was going to play a factor. I thought was the most, or was kind of a underlying interesting part of the episode, was how much the altitude kind of messed with everybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought, oh, it's France, it's going to be flat.
Yep.
Not so much.
They kind of talked about that throughout the episode.
Right.
But yeah, we kind of started off with the detour to start. The detour was say cheese or mule or please. Or I'm sorry, say cheese or mule please. And say cheese, teams had to make 3 baskets of cheese, then deliver them to the storage cave to receive their next clue from the cheesemaker. And mule please, teams had to properly strap a harness to a mule, then deliver 2 milk canisters to the, I don't even know what this, fromagere, without spilling any milk to receive their next clue from the cheesemaker. So, all right. So I'm going to talk my team first here, the team I drafted. I think they firstly chose wrong, and they went against all their principles here. They said they were going to do physical no matter what. And I think so many teams get scared because there's an animal involved, but there's so many different seasons where I can go by where one team or two teams have an easy way with the animal, but maybe one team has trouble. But I honestly would not like just automatically assume you're going to have trouble with this animal. So I think they definitely chose wrong. And it was clear as day the mule task was a lot faster if you knew how to set up the harness correctly. Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should touch on my team, right? Lulu and Lala. They definitely struggled in this, and they debated switching. I think they made the right move sticking with it, obviously, in the long run, but we'll get to the next step of where I think they made a massive mistake. But to me, I wouldn't have gone with the milk one. I definitely would have gone with anything that had to do with an animal. I feel more comfortable doing that. But yeah, Ryan and Dusty. I mean, did either one of you think like, I know they were struggling and they had to switch, but did either one of you think like that this was going to be their undoing and they're going to be eliminated at the end of this episode, or did you both feel like they were going to make it up?
There was a little worry for me, just because they were struggling quite a bit, and like they were so unsure of themselves to begin with. So I just really think like they didn't trust themselves on what their strategy was, and they went for a task that was not in their wheelhouse. And Dusty said, he's made cheese before, but clearly he did not. He got a little too cocky there. So I think once I saw though what the roadblock was and what the other task was to get to Phil, I was like, oh, they're gonna pass one of those two teams. Calbert.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd get eliminated, but I definitely thought that they were going to be in trouble. Like they could have finished, fourth. And I think part of the problem was not only the indecision, but like they also turned the burner off a couple times when they're making.
They did cheese, a bunch, yeah.
Which that completely defeats the purpose of doing the cheese. Then
mm-hmm.
I'll talk about my team for just half a second with the mule, please. So you have a mule. It has all the designs of what is supposed to go on for the straps. And did anybody actually really pay attention to the straps? Only one team, and that was Kim Penn, and Kim almost got kicked square in the back of the head because she forgot that mules can kick. That's why you don't stand behind an animal.
Well, actually, Ryan and Dusty, I thought when they switched, I think they got, well, at least from the editing.
I was waiting.
They got it perfect.
I was waiting for someone to get kicked. I was waiting for it to happen. I kept seeing while they were doing that. I kept saying, "You don't go behind an animal like that. You never do that."
I mean,
especially mules.
Yeah, exactly. And aside from, my team putting the strap upside down, which I don't know how that can happen, but they found a way to do that. They did okay. Yeah. So if it were me and I was doing the race, I would have done mule, please, because the cheese just took so long, and because you had to continue to stir it.
Yeah.
I think that's the only saving grace for Ryan and Dusty was that it was so close. So that's the thing. Like we talked about that last week. We talked about how we believe that all three of us think that they're the team to beat. But I said that the only downfall that they could have is if they beat themselves. They almost beat themselves by the indecision, and that's the thing. Like they gotta, I would think from here on out, like they got to stick with whatever they choose. Like there's no more indecision now, because you don't know necessarily if the next task is so close, So
yeah. Well, just touching on, I mean, they did mention that they could see the other task, and
right.
They were lucky that it was very close. But that's the time when you do want to change. Right. But the other mistake they made was they basically waited all the way until the end of the challenge to switch.
they should have just trusted their gut and switched right away.
Right.
That would have been a lot better than what they did. But yeah, you're right though. That is the time when you want to switch, when you can see it and it's so close, so you're not gonna, be driving all the way across town.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah. So coming out of this, Kim and Penn obviously had the best. They were in first. Surprisingly, Lulu and Lala came in second. I think that's because Raquel and Kayla
it's not that surprising.
Well, no, for you. Raquel and Kayla, though, they had it on backwards, and attention to detail is pivotal. So they ended up.
Don't worry.
I think if they would have had
they certainly made up for it in the next.
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about that
part of the show.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we are.
They're coming out of here in third. Aaron. No, it was Akbar and Sherry coming out in fourth. She's a cook, so of course she knows how to make the cheese. And then you got Aaron and Natalia passing Ryan and Dusty, and obviously Ryan and Dusty at that point they're like, okay, we got to switch, and we're way behind. They nailed the putting the mule together, or putting the straps on and the harness, and basically knocked that out of the park. So then we go to our roadblock, which was canyoning. This looked like a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Do we have anything like that in the U.S.? I would love to do that.
I'm sure.
That's a
Colorado or something like that. That would be fun. Be a lot of fun.
Probably.
But did you guys think, like, when we had this roadblock, that somebody was going to miss the clue? Like, it was almost like the editing was trying to lead you to, like, somebody's going to miss it.
I thought Aaron was going to. I thought for sure. I thought Aaron was going to.
Yeah, me too. Or I even thought my team, they're going to cruise past it. So, try to just catch someone that they're just going to, the horse blinders on, they're going to miss it.
I definitely thought somebody was going to miss the clue, but who knows? Maybe Raquel and Kayla would have, but they had a little help.
So now, Goldberg, what was there was a pact between the Raquel and Kayla and Lala and Lulu here? Is this where they made the pact that they were going to wait for each other?
I think they made the pact well before this. I think they made the pact. I mean, I'm not going to say when, but I think it was at the beginning of the race. One of them said where they want an all-girl team to win. So I guess
okay, so we're going
Lulu
that far
or Lala,
behind.
Whoever. Yeah,
but I thought in this
I
episode specifically, they said, "Oh, we're going to wait for you," because once they got to that task, they said, "Oh, we're going to wait for you," and that's kind of how we got the beef.
Well, Lulu or Lala? I'm not sure which one of them did the I don't know which one of them did the canyon thing. Either one of you?
Lula.
I mean, who the hell would know?
Let's just say Lula.
Lula? What? What are you, crazy?
Can't get it wrong there.
Okay, so Lula did the the canyon thing, and there was a point where she tipped. I'm bad with names, man. I don't know if it was Raquel or Kayla. I think it was Raquel, right?
Yeah, Raquel.
Yeah, it was Raquel.
Yeah, so she told her where the clue was, right?
Yep. And she was ahead at that point, right? She was ahead.
And she was ahead. All of a sudden, she looks up, and Raquel's not waiting for her. She told her where the clue was, and she's not waiting for her. I mean, these kinds of things, because I don't know if Raquel did it on purpose or not. Might just be a selfish girl. I have no idea. Don't know if she meant to do it, but it's too early in the race to take advantage of something and then break your pact immediately. So I don't think she did it on purpose. But if the situation comes again, not so sure Lula will be helping Raquela if the situation calls for them being in the same scenario again. I don't think they're going to help them again.
No. I think whatever alliance there was is definitely broken.
But do Raquel and Kayla, are they even aware that it's broken?
I think Raquel and Kayla. I think
him.
Raquel and Kayla are setting themselves up as the villains a little bit.
I think they get the feeling. So my thought was that A, it's a race, and B, apparently none of these teams remember what even happened when they were doing when they were back in Scotland. Remember, and they were setting up the bagpipes, and Natalia told 2 other teams pretty much how to do it. And she went, well, I don't know if that's really going to cost us, but I felt like I think it's a good thing for me to do. It almost cost them the race. Because remember, they would get eliminated.
Yes. Well,
so
it kind of did cost them.
They did get eliminated. Right. So I don't know. It's the 6th week. I don't know. I thought my thought was it was a race. Like it's going to happen. You're going to pass a team, I agree.
I agree. It's a race, but then don't say that you are going to be in an alliance when you're not going to follow through on it, because now that puts a target on your back.
Sure.
Just in case if you get a detour or not a detour, U-turn. Yep. If you get a U-turn, now you're going to be the hunted unless you can stay ahead of the pack.
Well, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, okay, if you got Kim and Penn, okay, yeah, they're probably not going to be upset with you, but you might get like somebody else, especially Lulu and Lala, that if they got ahead of them, they would for sure detour them after something like this.
Well, I think the ultimate goal for everybody, for all the teams that are left, is to get rid of Ryan and Dusty, because everybody thinks that Ryan and Dusty are the team to beat. I mean, so to your point, like that's who they would U-turn. My guess. I think this will kind of smooth over. Sure, they'll be mad next week, but it'll smooth over. And if there happens to be U-turn, everybody and their mother's going to try and U-turn Ryan and Dusty, because look at how Ryan and Dusty reacted. Right? They went, "Oh, we got to go with Mule," and then I'm jumping ahead. When they got to the mat, it was like they won the Super Bowl, and all they did was finish in 3rd. But you couldn't tell by the reaction. You would have thought they won the damn thing.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, first off, I want to go to your first point, though. I want to defer to Goldberg. Mm-hmm. Goldberg, do you think Lulu and Lala at this point would U-turn Ryan and Dusty, or do you think they would U-turn Raquel and Kayla?
Ryan and Dusty.
Okay, so you think they're going to do the smart choice?
I mean, I guess if you think that's the smart choice, I mean, I guess it is. But if it was me, I would U-turn Raquel and Kayla. But I think they're going to stick by their guns. They want a girl team, or everybody. It seems everybody remaining wants to get rid of Ryan and Dusty. So Ryan and Dusty right now are probably the odds-on favorite, but they've got every team against them.
That's
maybe Kim and Penn. Kim and Penn seem indifferent right now. Like they've worked with Ryan and Dusty a little, but
nobody's really. They're kind of like they're just as good, in my opinion, but they are more. I think everybody kind of likes them, or at least they kind of come off as like very neutral. So I agree with you there. I do agree. I think Kim and Penn would get by without being U-turned. I definitely think if there was a U-turn, it would definitely go to Ryan and Dusty. But I'm just saying, let's see where this Raquel and Kayla and Lulu and Lala thing goes, because it may have been just one comment, but it was enough to the point where Lulu and Lala definitely seemed a little upset about them not waiting around. So,
I mean, I have one more thought on this, but I'll save it for when we get to the checkpoint here.
Okay. So let's talk about this roadblock a little bit here. We're not going to give Aaron any props for an old guy that seemed to have no trouble with a canyoning task. Are we going to give him any props?
No.
I know before we started recording, you were throwing a little shade at him.
No. We're gonna give him credit that Akbar was still in the race.
That's exactly right.
Akbar. Let's put it out there now. Let's just get this over with. We knew this was coming eventually, because karma always comes back. It maybe it waits a few weeks, but it'll always come back.
Yeah, it
And
definitely
he
came
yelled,
back to
he
Akbar.
yelled at her one too many times, and something was going to happen, and he would be the reason they would be eliminated, and it happened, and he couldn't keep up. Guy's a competitive guy,
What?
man. I don't dislike him, but he fucked
No,
up.
no, they definitely did better than what I ever thought they would be. But how?
And kudos to her for not bashing him either.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's not the type to do that. She
But if
ran
it
out
was
of
the
breath
other way
by the way,
around,
just getting the clue. This
he
team
would've
was
left the canyon.
How are
and
they
left her
so
there.
out of shape? I don't get it. How are they like? That's not. I mean, just walking. Like Sherry walked up a hill just to get the clue. She was out of breath. You had Akbar going the canyoning, and that it's pretty physical. But man, the dude could barely walk. He was like walking like he just got out of a bar at 3 a.m. and he was played a whole night of beer pong tournaments. I mean, that was just crazy. And when I saw those two teams were in there, I was like, I knew Ryan and Dusty still had a chance at this.
Oh yeah, but I think, I don't know. I think just because he was forced to, because Akbar had no choice, I think he thought that this was going to be a breeze. Like, okay, yeah, I'm 275 pounds. I'm going to put the water suit on. It's going to make me 100 pounds heavier. It's not going to be that bad, though. I legit think that he thought that. I mean, they're from New Jersey, so, I mean, clearly they've never dealt with altitude, because that was clearly an issue for them. But yeah. I mean,
either way, they were screwed here, though.
Oh,
either way, they were done. Both of them are not the fastest, and they definitely don't have the stamina to keep it going. This was not a good task if you were, Akbar or Sherry.
Right.
But I mean, woof.
But we have no problem with Aaron and Ryan passing Akbar. Right. There's no issue with that. Okay.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
You're not supposed to just let him go. He could barely even walk.
Right. I agree.
And right. I mean, they were in last place. This is their first time ever being in last place. I would be the same way. I'd be like frantic. I'd be like, okay, we got to just power through this. And that's exactly what they did. Akbar and Aaron were like, halfway through this course?
Yep.
And then Ryan gets on and just destroys it. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, yeah, you got yourself in a tough spot, but they were not in this position ever. And this was like them almost in their minds. They thought, hey, we could be eliminated. We need to pick it up, and we need to do perfect. And I thought they did really well. Now, what I'm going to say though about Dusty is he had a very emotional roller coaster of an episode. He was maybe a little bit animated. And I think that was more Dusty than Ryan. I think Ryan's more the even keel, but Dusty, damn. I mean, wow. Holy cow. I mean, he said his dad just passed and he was doing it for his dad. He just had a kid. I mean, I get that. But, when he got to the mat, it was a little too much. But, but all right. Anyways, so then we got Aaron coming out at, what was that?
It was definitely a little too much when they got to the mat.
Yeah.
Fuck Aaron, you guys. Yeah. I want to hear what were you really thinking, bro? Let it out.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a little too much. I think it was a side that could possibly put him as a heel. He also said too, if we get eliminated because of this, oh my, he's dropping F-bombs and stuff.
Yeah, I never saw them have to blur someone out like that.
I know.
Every team was excited though when they passed them. They're like, fuck yeah, we passed them. We don't ever pass them. Let's go. My team in particular. So.
Right. Oh yeah, they were all very happy.
I thought it was funny. When he's like, Raquel and Kayla just passed for the first time already.
Yeah. See, I want to talk about that too when we get to that point. But okay, so then Ryan passes Akbar, but Aaron does not get passed by Akbar at this point. And then we finally get to the kayaking task. And then Lulu and Lala does not read their clue. Goldberg, what's your thoughts here?
My thoughts were, if they wouldn't have helped Raquel and Kayla, this wouldn't have really mattered that much, because they would have been ahead of them going into that. But I will admit, I got very, very nervous when I thought, okay, they didn't read their clue, but they'll still finish. I thought they'd still finish at least third. Then all of a sudden, every other team started arriving, and then I started thinking, fuck, what if they get eliminated from this? That would suck. But yeah, I don't think it would have mattered had they not stuck with their alliance and helped Raquel and Kayla. I feel like she probably would have been well ahead of them, and maybe that wouldn't have mattered in that situation, that they made a mistake. But yeah, you gotta, I mean, we see this every season. You gotta read the damn clue.
And then not only that, this is where the comment of Lulu and Lala, Raquel and Kayla said, "Oh, you made it," and they're like, "Oh, now you say that."
You know what? The dumbest, the funniest thing to me is when they're all arriving at the finish line here, or at the checkpoint, and they're all getting there, and everybody's arriving basically at the same time for the most part. And Phil is welcoming everyone to the mat, and they're all cheering like crazy. And he's, "Oh, you're in second, you're in third, you're in fourth," and everybody's going nuts every time he says, "Oh, why don't you tell them what place they're in?"
Right.
And they tell Lulu and Lala, "You're in fifth," and everyone goes, "Yeah." And Lulu, there's nothing to cheer about in this situation, being in fifth. You were in second when you left the fucking what's it called? The
start.
Yeah, well, they were when
the
even
pit stop.
after. No, even after the pit stop, right? When they got to the canyon, they were in second.
Yeah, the detour. They were in second after the detour.
Yeah, when they got to the canyon, they were in second. So you think they get to the finish line, they're supposed to be happy with a fifth place finish? They got fucked by Calbert's team. And Calbert, we're coming for you this next episode. We're coming. This will not be forgotten.
Oh, it's all right. You'll just continue to walk your flotation device a few yards down the way instead of actually putting it in the water.
I gotta say, how fast did Ryan and Dusty pump up that kayak?
Oh, it was.
I mean,
they didn't time it, but I'm thinking it was probably less than a minute.
Right. I'm pretty sure they snorted some cocaine off camera at some point in this episode.
I think Dusty had cocaine before the episode.
They were in literally like every scene with them was like, "Oh my God, we got to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to catch up. We got to do this. We got to do this. Quick. My father died. I got to catch up. When we get to the end, fuck everyone." It was crazy.
Yeah.
What a wild second half of the episode for them.
It was. And it really was. I mean, that was, whoa. It really was.
They really focused this episode on Ryan and Dusty.
Yes.
And then they threw in a little Lulu and Lala being mad at Raquel and Kayla.
Right. That was the kind of the two major storylines. Kim and Penn, though, coming in first, they had a hell of a leg. I mean, they were flawless here. Besides maybe one part with the saddle. That was about it. Right. Other than that,
they did so well that they weren't even really a storyline in this episode. They just did what they had to do, and
that was it.
That's it.
Dude,
and coming in second.
Yeah, when you kind of go with the flow instead of having a schedule. Like that seemed to help. Penn even said that to her. He was like, "Just keep doing it."
Yeah,
it's working.
Well, I think their whole storyline was Kim. She wanted to just be happy about things and not be, because you remember last episode she was all nervous, kind of seemed like she had put her in a bad mood. But now, I mean, they were just, I don't know, they wanted to take things in a little bit more. So whatever they did this episode, it definitely worked, and they took first, and they won $5,000 a piece.
Correct.
Yep. Big deal. Penn really, like, this guy enjoys his life, man. Give him credit.
Yeah.
This guy's enjoying every ounce of every second.
Yep. He really does. And probably the best performance out of Raquel and Kayla up to this point, taking second place. Calbert, thoughts on your team?
I would say so. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. They caught a break.
You mean sneaky than good?
Fair enough.
I mean, second place though. I mean, you got to give them props here. They did a
considering
job.
they didn't take the scenic route this week, because I was just as nervous last week with them taking the scenic route. Oh crap! Are they going to get eliminated? But hey, they took second, and so now we'll see.
I by the way, I think you guys are right. I think there's going to be one more non-elim, or whoever said that.
Yeah, that's me. I think there's got to be.
I think there's one more because they're still teasing it, even though, again, they're kind of giving it away like they did last time, where they say how many departure times there are. That way we knew.
Yes.
That there wasn't going to be, when Akbar finally got there, we knew they were going to be eliminated.
So now Ryan and Dusty come in third, and this is the part where Goldberg, you talk about Ryan and Dusty. They take their vests off, and Raquel and Kayla instantly say, "Ooh, we're big and macho," and they kind of were making fun of them a little bit.
Even the guy that was like, welcome to France, he was kind of making fun of them too.
Right. It was a pretty funny moment.
I thought so. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I get they were emotional this whole episode, but come on, act like you've been there, guys. You finish first every week. Like, come on.
Right. Well, they finally had some adversity, and they had to. I get it, but I mean, they probably overreacted a little bit when you had Akbar and Sherry still in the race, and you had Aaron and Natalia.
Exactly.
I mean, especially when you saw these two physical tasks, like clearly they were going to pass them. What I didn't think was they'd pass Lulu and Lala as well, but.
You know what? It's let's get to the rankings.
Ryan and Dusty at 3. Coming in at 4 is Aaron and Natalia. Coming in at 5 is Lala and Lulu. And sadly, Akbar and Sherry coming in at 6th and are no longer in the race. So we thought Aaron and Natalia would have probably got eliminated, but if there was any other team, it was going to be Akbar and Sherry. So I don't think we were too far off or too surprised at this.
Yep, we both pretty much said like Aaron and Natalia would be this week. They're just saving themselves a week. Akbar and Sherry we're going to be the following week, so no big deal. Just a little alteration, nothing big. I still don't trust Aaron and Natalia as far as I can throw them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's give our last thoughts for Akbar and Sherry. I gotta say they're actually pretty entertaining, and they made it a hell of a lot farther than I thought they would. Goldberg, you got the same sentiment?
I think their sole competitiveness got them to, the fact they've played sports or whatever, because you could see they were competitive, man. They really wanted to win, especially Akbar. And I think that's kind of why he gets into yelling at his wife. But
right.
They're I like them. I like them as a team, and a 6th place finish is pretty solid for them.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, they weren't bad at directions, and they weren't bad at just going into the task and doing it. The problem is they weren't in shape. So that was their downfall. Yeah. Calbert, last thoughts on Akbar and Sherry?
Yeah, so I buried this team. When we did the pre-rankings, I had them finishing dead last. So, all right, I got that wrong. I'll admit that. Yeah, when they weren't bickering with each other, they actually didn't do too bad. But it's a physical and a mental game for a reason. So, I talked about in the pre-ranking show that the fact that they were 45 and 44, I thought was going to be a downfall. I don't know necessarily if that was it, or if it was just because of the altitude. I think I'll choose C, both. It was the fact of their age plus the altitude. So
yeah.
But so they did better than I thought. So
for sure.
Look forward to your tweets. I was wrong. So
for sure. All right. It's our favorite time of the week, power rankings. I believe I start this week. So
you do.
Number 5. As much as I want to put Lulu and Lala here,
Get that fuck out of here.
I'm going to go Aaron and Natalia because they still really didn't do that well, and a lot of bad finishes. So Aaron and Natalia, my number 5 team. Goldberg, number 5.
I mean, I got to go with Aaron and Natalia. As much as I want to get cute and maybe pick someone else, but overall, I mean, there's no question they're the worst team left.
Yeah. Calbert, number 5.
Yeah, it's Aaron and Natalia. And it's not even close. Like, enjoy the free week that you have left in the show, because you can now book your flight back to Detroit. You're going home next week.
You know what? You said that last week.
I did. I was off.
You got to admit, you got to admit that anything. I mean, it's not a given. Anything could happen here. Anything.
That's true. Happen. It could. You're right. It could be a non-elimination. That's true.
You don't have to win the leg. You just got to survive.
So you think there's no question they're going to finish last, but it may be a non-elimination.
I believe that. Yeah, I really do.
Wow. So here's an interesting question. You had to put money on it. Them finishing last. You think they're you would put money that they finish last rather than taking the field? No, taking the rest of the field to finish last.
I believe they would finish last. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're that bad. I think they're that challenged, because look what happens with Ryan and Dusty. Like, the fear of God got struck into them, and they still finished third. So, I just think that in the event that it comes down to a sprint, I think another team could beat them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I feel like if it in this type of leg where they don't have to do self-navigation, they actually would be okay. But any type of self-navigation task, they're done. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So, all right, number 4 this week. I am going to go Lala and Lulu. I mean, what? Come on. I mean, there's no reason to put this team in the top 3 right now.
Yes, there is. There's plenty of reason.
Why? You read the spoilers? No,
they're the third best team.
No, I honestly can't. I can't put them higher. They
supposed to be better than Raquel and Kayla.
Not this week. They separated themselves quite a bit. I'm putting them at 4.
First of all, if there's spoilers, send me the link. I want to know who wins.
I know. I don't know how anyone can actually get spoilers on this, unless you were unless you were the guy on the mat with Phil.
Right.
You know, the guy greeting him. You know, he looks at it. He don't know their names. Especially this season when they're trying to stay low key. I bet it's 10 times tougher to see who would be. Goldberg, your 4th place team here. Oh, you got Goldberg's muted.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, okay.
Someone give me 1 second.
Oh, we got the dog.
I'll give you my 4th team.
Yeah. You go.
My 4th team is Lulu and Lala. Since Goldberg can't hear me right now, it's Lulu and Lala.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
You're right. I'm concerned though, because Hurls has looked at my power rankings this week. That doesn't make me feel good. Go ahead.
Going chalk never works out. All right. never works.
Oh yeah, especially when Will and James win it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Go ahead, Goldberg. Who's your 4th place team?
Yeah, 4th. It's Raquel and Kayla. They would have finished. They would have at least finished 3rd had it not been for Lulu and Lala tipping them off where the clue was, waiting for them, and playing girl. We love girl power. So
you're saying they made a lot of mistakes this episode then?
No, but I'm saying that Lulu and Lala were ahead of them at this point. And if she didn't wait for her and show her where the clue was, I think they would have stayed ahead of them. I get they did make that mistake at the end, not reading the clue, but I think overall their last 2 or 3 episodes for Lulu and Lala has been pretty damn solid. They made one mistake at the end of this past episode.
I agree. But when it comes down to this, when we're down to this many teams, one mistake like that can kill you. And I'll admit, Ryan and Dusty definitely did not have what seemed like a third place leg. Seemed like they had a fifth, fourth or fifth. You could even say they had the worst leg, but
I think Kellen impressed me more in previous episodes than the last episode where they finished second. I don't know why. They impressed me more in the earlier episodes because I didn't expect them to be good, and they impressed me more then. Now I don't know. They didn't really impress me in this past episode.
So you got Raquel and Kayla at 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I still have Lulu and Lala at 4. That doesn't change my pick.
Right.
The fact that they had trouble.
That speech didn't work on you? No, nothing.
No, it was a very good speech. Well done. Very good. The fact that they had trouble getting the canoe into the water, because remember I don't know, they were walking. I don't know where the hell they were walking before they put it in, and then they had trouble with. I haven't done a lot of canoeing, but I know if it's a 2-person canoe, one person strokes on the right, the other person strokes on the left. They did have a little bit of trouble getting that going, just to kind of start off with.
Unless you guys are perfectly in sync and you're going quick enough.
Right.
That's what you would have to do. You would have to do that way.
And to Goldberg's point, that small little mistake, forgetting to leave your bag and your sorry.
Yeah. To leave the bag in the van. Yep.
Leave the bag in the in the car, and not being precise with the stroking, that could cost you. So that's the only real reason.
Yeah, but all right, I know we got to keep going, but to in the long run, yeah, Lulu and Lala finished 5th. They're in the second time slot, so they're technically 3rd, correct?
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
So they're technically 3rd, and they're only 15 minutes out of first place. So I'm not gonna. To me, this is not finishing 5th doesn't really matter in this instance.
Well, they're not. They can't work with Raquel and Kayla.
Right.
Next episode, so that'll help you.
Yeah, they'll catch them. 15 minutes is nothing.
All right, my number 3 team is Raquel and Kayla. It's good week though. Put him in number 3, putting him in the top 3 here. So I gotta reward them. I think Raquel and Kayla and Lulu and Lala right now are like they're pretty even, but I'm giving the edge slightly to Raquel and Kayla. Goldberg, you're number 3.
You'll change that next week when Raquel and Kayla are eliminated. I read the spoilers, but anyway. No, I'm joking.
No,
but, I'm totally joking.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Third, yeah, I'm gonna go with Lulu and Lala. I'm not gonna be that much of a homer. I'm gonna take them 3rd because yes, I think 3rd and 4th are interchangeable right now, but 1st and 2nd are not.
Okay.
Yes, 3rd I have Raquel and Kayla. It's been another good week. If they don't take the scenic route and they know how to put straps on correctly, they would be maybe a top 2 team. But they find a way to shoot themselves in the foot the last 2 weeks anyway. So I have them at 3rd.
All right. Number 2, this is a very close. It's a lot closer this week. But I'm still going Kim and Penn. But I think, to me, they're a lot closer to Ryan and Dusty now. So I got Kim and Penn at 2. Very solid week for them. There's no question. They had really no issues. I thought they had not the greatest week last week, but this week they definitely really didn't. They had a flawless leg. So going Kim and Penn at 2. Goldberg.
Yeah, to me, these top 2 teams are clearly the top 2 teams overall. So I don't really have much reason as to who will be 1st and who will be 2nd. So for 2nd, based on recency bias, I'm going to go with Ryan and Dusty in 2nd.
Okay.
Okay.
Not bad. Calbert, who do you got at number 2?
I got Kevin Penn at 2. It was exactly right. It was a flawless race for them. Outside of Kim almost getting kicked by the mule, that was pretty much the only downside. But they did really well, and so let the good vibes flow for them, and that seems to work. And I agree. I think Kevin Penn and Ryan Dusty are the 2 top teams to beat.
All right, number 1, obviously it's Ryan and Dusty. I wanted to see them go through some adversity, and they did. Didn't really care. I liked how they played after that, but I didn't really care for how Dusty reacted to it. But whatever they did, I guess, did work. So I can't really fault them too much, but I definitely have Kim and Penn coming closer to taking the number 1 spot in my power ranking. So, but I'm still going Ryan and Dusty. They just, going from 6th to 3rd in a pretty short amount of time is pretty good. So going Ryan and Dusty at 1, but it's definitely a lot closer. Goldberg.
Well, yeah, I have Kim and Penn at 1. And I was actually surprised when we did our redraft that neither one of you took Kim and Penn. Mm-hmm. I know Hurls, you had the first pick, so Ryan and Dusty, that's a giveaway. But Calbert, I thought for sure you would take Kim and Penn. And when you didn't, I was definitely tempted to switch to them from Lulu and Lala, but I'm fucking hard-headed, so I stuck with Lulu and Lala. But I thought Kim and Penn are definitely a top 2 team. They haven't had any adversity yet, and maybe we will see it, but they really haven't had any issues. And
leg 1 they weren't.
Leg 1 they did.
Leg 1 and 2 actually, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm eliminating leg 1 and 2 because that didn't really.
Yeah, it's almost like a new race.
Yeah. I guess since the race restarted, they have been pretty fucking dominant. Right?
Yeah.
They've been good. They really do. They've kind of just chewed these challenges up and spit them out.
And the way, I gotta say, the way they're doing a podcast right now, and they seem like maybe they won the whole thing, they're just giving off those vibes as, hey, we'll interview everybody because we're going to be on the show the whole time. So
yeah, but Lulu and Lala got their own podcast. So does.
They're going to win it. That's a giveaway.
Aaron and Natalia have their own podcast too. So.
Oh yeah, but that's called the loser. They eliminated in 5th place podcast. So
they might. Hey, does that mean those are the top 3 teams then?
No, because Raquel and Dusty or Ryan, one of them have one too. They combine teams to do a podcast.
They both did it. Okay, Raquel and Dusty have a okay.
Well, one on each team. I don't quote me on.
So every team is represented by a podcast.
So yeah, I think the last 5 every. So yeah.
So throw that out the window.
Yeah, that you can throw that out the window. I was joking, but yeah, right now I have Kim and Penn number 1 right now. They seem very comfortable where they're at.
All right, Calbert.
Yeah, it's Ryan and Dusty at 1 for me. Also, they struggled. Every team that usually dominates in any season of the Amazing Race that we've watched has a bad week. I just think it was a bad for them. And as long as they don't beat themselves, which we talked about last week, and I'll repeat it again, as long as they don't beat themselves, I think they win this thing. However, I think as of this week, so week 7, whatever they decide to do when it comes to the challenges they got, or to the detours they got to do, like if we're sticking with one, we're sticking with one until it's done.
Yeah, they got to just go back to their game plan of doing everything physical.
Right.
Like, and I mean, making cheese is kind of physical, but clearly the mule task was more up their alley anyway. So they got to just have more confidence in themselves. I also think Ryan needs to have more of a say on what they do, because it seems like Dusty's kind of leading the way.
Right.
And I think he's a little too emotional, especially at this time period. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they can balance it out. Now, I wanted to bring up something very, very interesting because it has to do with last season. You guys probably didn't see this, but Leo 316 from last season threw some shade at Ryan and Dusty, there was a post under another podcast called Robin Has a Podcast. One of the podcasters' name was Jessica Least. She posted that she does not like how Amazing Race casts the two manly man teams like Ryan and Dusty. Yeah. And Leo goes under there and basically says, I agree, they're fucking boring. We need to start casting different teams.
Hold up, is this quoted?
This not verbatim, but here.
Did he say fucking boring?
He said that. Yeah, he swore. I will get it. Just bear with me here.
Who was more vanilla than fucking? Well, no, Leo wasn't vanilla. Never mind.
Okay, here's the tweet from Jessica Lease. I like Ryan and Dusty just fine as humans, but hear me out. What if Amazing Race had a season where they just didn't cast this archetype? ? Under that, we got your boy, Leo. I totally agree, but also I think these two are remarkably boring, even for the archetype. Am I missing something? Are these two boring? I didn't think they were boring at all.
No. They have more action than the volleyballers from last season. Yes. They're more exciting than the volleyballers had no personality. They were great, good team.
They were kind of a heel. They were a little bit of a heels, but
what did they do that was memorable? I mean, this episode alone was pretty memorable of Brian and Dusty, the way they acted.
Right. And if I was going to say any team was boring, I would have said Anthony and Spencer. Yes. But man, that's
Leo is sticking. He's sticking to his character.
Leo just wants to be on every season going forward. I bet
it's a bad take. It's a bad take.
So I had to bring this to the podcast because Leo is respected around here, and
he still is. But it's a bad take because when you start with this Brian Flores type NFL suing shit. And you bring it to the Amazing Race, and you say they shouldn't have two dudes on the same team who are muscular. It's just like that. That's the fun in it. There's no guarantee that the two muscular dudes are going to be good anyway. Like, I mean, listen. Last season we saw who was the they were girls, but wasn't one of them an Olympian?
Well, I mean, I get it to a point. Like everybody thinks
they could be dumb they could be dumb.
Right. This take in general it's almost kind of like, does it come across as man-hating a little bit?
Well, he must be. Never mind.
Not Leo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know where you're going, but I don't really think
he's soft, man. Like right. Leo's not the manliest man.
No, we knew that. But the manly man teams, how many have we seen get eliminated because volleyball? Yeah, you just mentioned the volleyballers. I remember the ultimate frisbee players. I mean, they were similar, but they got U-turned and they got out like 5th or 6th. So,
well, let's just put. I want to hear Calbert's thoughts on this, but let me just say one thing. The volleyballers were the manliest man team of last season, correct?
Yes. Well, would you say D'Angelo and Gary were?
Yes. Okay. There's 2. D'Angelo and Gary are more the manly man than Ryan and Dusty.
Yes. Probably. Yeah.
2 gay guys.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
my
2 gay men won the whole season. So how does that translate?
Yeah, my first reaction out loud in my head, which I'll not say out loud, was
yes.
So what that they're boring?
Yes. Right. You're not.
Could you tell me what Taylor and Isaiah did this season?
There you go. Why does the 2 manly men have to be boring? I don't think they are.
Yeah,
but that's a good
Goldberg,
point. Even if they are boring, they still there's no guarantee they're going to win.
They could be dumb. Like let's face it for just half a second, since we talked about last season. D'Angelo and Gary, like D'Angelo was the brains of the operation most of the time. Gary tried, but D'Angelo was the brains of the operation. I'm not saying Gary was dumb. I'm just saying D'Angelo was the smarter of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what that they're boring? Boring doesn't necessarily, to your point, boring doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. you can be boring and still lose.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and we haven't really had a heel team yet. We're still trying to figure out one for the season. And outside
but the point wasn't that they were boring. Leo made that the point, but the point is that they don't want two muscular dudes on the same team.
That doesn't, but we've had firemen on this competition.
Exactly. No, it's a horrible take. It's a horrible take. I picked Will and Jane. I'm not trying to knock them. I picked them to win last season for a reason.
We had cops this season. Like,
yes,
cops are muscular people.
Yeah.
So if Ryan and Dusty were eliminated where the cops were and the cops got this far, would they be bashing the cops like this?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Like, maybe she's trying to get along the lines of frat boy, but
because they wear backwards hats. They wear backwards hats. They're good-looking guys. It's a bad take. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're not good. What we want to put everybody from who like graduated from Yale on the show. Like, I just that is a very bad take. Very bad.
The graduate from Yale might be able to help you with the puzzle.
Sure,
but
we've had Yale.
Yeah,
2 seasons ago.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So okay.
Harvard, and didn't Leo go to Harvard? Or one of them went to his
no,
wife.
You're right. The cops could easily still be in this thing had they turned out to not be completely useless. They could have still been in this. So it's a bad take to just talk about two guys who are in shape. They were both in shape. One was very short, but he was in shape. They're cops. Like, they could have been still around. Are you going to bash them? You're allowed to have two guys on the same team who are in shape. Hurls, I think you're right. I think they're bashing them because they look like frat boys.
Yeah. I think it's a little woke to me, but
I don't want
to go down that line, but I think just pick. So you pick so many people, so many teams from different backgrounds. That's what makes this show so great.
Right, but it's not like they're picking a whole.
Right.
If you when you're trying to be on the show, it's not here's who's going to be on the show with you. You're just trying to be on the show. You don't care who's against you.
Right.
You just want to win. Like,
and I get it. Amazing Race. They pick, what's going to make a good TV show. They're not always picking the most, athletic teams. But to say this team was boring, I 100% disagree. They're not boring at all. Especially this episode. I mean, if they didn't show you personality, what more do you want?
Or Amazing Race saw that tweet and they made it certain they're going to show their personalities.
Right.
I want to go on this show with your best buddy. Like, if that's your ride or die guy, which clearly that is. Like, that's how they are. That's how they act. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Not a good take, but Calbert, what do we got next week? I know we saw a little preview. We saw Dusty and Ryan.
Well, if we like cheese this week, we get more cheese next week, and we get maggots involved with it, and you got to eat the maggot cheese.
Can you guys tell me who struggled? Is there any preview of who struggles next week? Because I wasn't able to see.
I think we saw quite
Ryan
a few teams.
And Dusty struggle with a boat. It looks like.
Yes, it looks like their boat sinks.
Yep.
The cheese.
All right, here we go.
We saw a couple teams gagging.
Yes.
I'm going to give a hot take before we wrap this up.
Okay.
I'm going to say Aaron and Natalia somehow skate by one more week. Here's my hot take. It's probably stupid. I'm going to say Ryan and Dusty get eliminated this week. And that they use them this previous week and put the spotlight all on them because they edited it that way because they were going to be eliminated the next week.
To tell a story.
To give them some spotlight before they get thrown out the next week.
Okay. Wait, I was actually going to say next week's going to be a non-limb.
That's what I was going to say. Yep. It's
you think so?
Because there's
it could be, but there could. So there's either a non-limb this week or the next week, if there is another non-limb, because it's not going to be one with 3 teams left. Right?
I always hate when the non-limb is with just 4 teams. It's not good. Yeah. I think you got to go non-limb this upcoming week because when you do non-limb for 4 teams, it's just off. They've done it before, so it's not like they couldn't do it. It's just not.
We
good
need to get rid of Aaron and Natalia, and then the last 4 will be a solid race.
Because think of this, Goldberg. If they do another elimination next week, you're going to have 4 teams for 2 weeks in a row. So you're going to know automatically it's going to be a non-elim in one of those episodes. So, or it's going to be a non-elim in the 8th episode.
Wait, how many episodes are there? 11?
There's only 10 this season.
So there's
10. And how many are left? 4?
4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or 5?
Yep, it's 7.
4.
Right. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep.
So 7. They could eliminate one on 7.
They could.
They could eliminate one on
down
8.
To 4.
And they could have a 2. They could have 2 episode finale.
That won't happen. I don't think they'll do that.
But if they did,
you're crushing your
momentum.
momentum. You're crushing your momentum by doing a 2-week finale, because I think they want to do the finale on one episode.
They don't tend. Okay.
Then there will definitely be one more non-elim. So it's either this week or next week.
Which means Aaron and it's a live to fight another night.
You know what? You it may happen where Aaron and Natalia are last and get one more chance. It may happen.
You may be right. I'm going to go with that it's a non-elim. I mean, you could be right. It could be an elimination. I think that just judging by what I've seen off of the preview with everybody struggling with the mac and cheese, that would make sense.
I mean, even if Dusty and Ryan fall in the lake or wherever they are,
mm-hmm.
I mean, what's that really mean? Well, they just get back up and start pedaling. I mean, that could be nothing,
or carry it if they have to.
Right. I mean, I'm not too worried about that.
Well, I mean, before we wrap this up, let's just say I think we're all in agreement we're rooting for Lulu and Lala, right?
Absolutely not.
If we didn't pick winners, though, who would you be rooting for at this point?
Well, based on everything, probably Kim and Penn.
What about you, Calbert?
I'd go Ryan and Dusty.
I think
Ryan for sure. Yeah.
I think I would be rooting for Ryan and Dusty too.
Well, because Ryan's redemption story, kind of.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He also did. I mean, granted, spending 10 years in prison is terrible, but he did win $11 million.
Yeah.
But probably it's deserved though, right? It's like $11 million for not being able to ever go outside for 10 years. Yeah, I think
But
so
I actually think they're likable. I don't agree with Leo.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I mean,
well, yeah, Dusty. I mean, he was emotional because his dad just died and he just had a kid. I get it. Maybe that's carrying over. You're right though. Act like you've been there before.
Right.
I mean, you passed Akbar and Sherry. It's almost like they had in their head like they were going to get eliminated after not being able to do that detour properly. So I don't know, their emotions were on edge, or at least Dusty's were.
Right, because you could probably, I mean, realistically, you could probably hear them from where they started till probably about the middle of that body of water, because there's nobody else out there. So
yeah,
let's go, or whatever. I mean,
right.
So
right.
I'm all right with the season, though. I don't really. That's the thing. I generally hate a team by this point. I generally hate a team. I want to get rid of them. I know I have buried Akbar and Sherry. They're gone now. And
you've been burying Aaron and Natalia way worse.
Oh yeah, for at least the last 4 weeks. True.
Raquel and Kayla can hit the bricks after what they just did.
But I honestly don't hate anybody this season. So
I agree. They're mostly all of them are likable. So all right, Calbert, what would you rate this episode?
So I'd give this episode 6, just because of the detours and Ryan and Dusty Braveheart screaming at the mat, and then being able to count to 5. All the teams were able to count to 5. That's a good sign.
I'll go with 7. I think the canyoning roadblock was pretty cool looking. I'm kind of jealous. I kind of want to do that. So I think the detours were kind of weak, but I think the roadblock kind of made up for it, and the kayaking to Phil was pretty cool. So I'll give it a 7. Goldberg, what would you rate this episode?
Yeah, no, I actually enjoyed it. I'll give it like a 7.5. Just for the political stuff that came along with it, I guess you could call the personal stuff, Dusty's emotional moment, and Lulu and Lala. Trust me, Calbert. They're coming for Raquel and Kayla. Trust me.
We need a freaking U-turn. We haven't gotten it yet. Like, what the heck?
It's coming. It's coming.
We got 5 teams left. They might not do a U-turn, though.
They may not.
This would have been the week to do it.
And
this would have been the week to do it because you got 2 detours right by each other. That would have been the week to do it. But yeah, but they still could. They still got 5 teams left, so it's definitely doable with 5. So, all right, I think that's going to wrap our episode 6 coverage up. Hopefully, the Tara Historian is going to give us some good points this week. I think we did a solid job. He just, we're too hot to handle for him. So, all right, and that'll do it. We'll see you next week. Peace.